Are we starting?
Yes.
I just put my phone on vibrate just in case somebody decided to call.
Have you ever put your phone on vibrate and had your phone in your pocket and the fact that it was on vibrate? I don't know where that question was going.
I don't know either.
The word vibrate.
Yes.
Have you ever? No, you've never used your phone for that purpose.
But to stick in my like against my balls.
I mean, yeah.
Well, one of the woman I have done comedy for in the area, Alana Susko.
Yeah.
She also sells toys for Athena's.
Ah, gotcha.
So
say no more. Say no more.
So when she's hosting when I'm performing around her, and she usually instructs people when she first gets up on stage to put their phones on pleasure mode.
Ah.
So there you go. That's bringing it back.
Yeah, don't put mine on vibrate that often. Although it also vibrates when it rings. I get like the phantom vibration in my pocket. Like sometimes I'll feel like, oh there's something in my pocket that's vibrating, and my phone isn't even in my pocket. And I wonder whether there's like weird radiation or something going into my leg muscles because I've had my phone there so often.
I used to get that with my old phone when I had one of those. I had the Nextel phone. The walkie-talkie with the walkie-talkie
yes.
feature.
Yeah.
And it was back when I was living in North Carolina, and I didn't know too many people down there except for Will and some other folks.
Right, yeah.
So Will, if you're listening, shout out to you, man.
Yeah.
I did double guns at the microphone.
Just in case you couldn't see.
Yeah, but you can't see, obviously. So it's more of me
Will's a pretty like beyond average person. Maybe he can see through sound. That's all I don't
think that he can see through sound. He's a bright fellow.
He's a bright fellow.
But I'm not going to say that he can see sound.
Okay, all right. So
or see what I'm doing. He could assume that I'm doing double guns. At the microphone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe based on the intonation of your voice, as you said his name, he would have understood that you were doing double guns at that.
Get close to the mic.
I'm close to the mic. People can hear me.
All right, I'm just making sure.
All right.
I don't want people to be like, I can't hear Chris, but you're wicked loud.
Well, yeah, but the thing is you told me that at least one person was like, I thought you were funny, Steve, but the other guy, so why do they want to hear me anyway?
I forget who said that.
So anyway, you had the Nextel phone buzzing in your pocket.
Yeah, but and that thing was a brick too.
I remember seeing those, and I thought at the time, I don't know that I thought I wanted one, but I thought the idea, like when I'd watch football and they like Nextel commercial would come on and it would.
Oh, I thought you're like, when I'm watching football, like I'm walkie-talkie my pal in the other part of the country while I'm watching a football game.
Yeah, no. But like that football, because Nextel sponsored the NFL halftime report and. We should change our theme to that and hope that we don't get sued. Yeah, well, then we would disappoint the new sweethearts, of which we don't know anybody who. I mean,
I am, and Dan and I are.
We would disappoint you,
remaining members of the new sweethearts,
if we changed our theme song. So, did we get to the end of the story? You had the phone.
I had the phone and it buzzed in my pocket. And
that was it.
There was nothing to it. That's why I kept on diverting it. Because there was no story.
There was no story.
There was just me being at work at Food Lion in Morrisville. Yeah, Morrisville, North Carolina.
Yes.
It's right near the movie theater.
Morrisville.
If anybody's down there, it's like, oh, I know that.
Food Lion. Want to put on the podcast and sort of do a tour and drive around to the various places we.
They have a weird saturation of grocery stores down there.
Yeah,
it's just like there's one of a certain chain on almost every block.
So it's kind of like the way fast food places work, except with grocery stores.
Yeah, but there were I could have walked to. I didn't work at either of them.
Right,
but I could have walked to two different Food Lions from where I lived.
Two different Food Lions. So it's not okay. Yeah, that's just weird. That's.
But there was the closest store to where I lived was a Harris Teeter. Which is always makes me want to pinch my nipples when I say it. I'm not pinching my nipples, but I am making my shirt go out like I have
like
big,
you
like I have
like you had like 4-inch nipples.
Yeah, that are really,
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, we had to take your word for it.
Yeah, well, I did smooth it
wanna...
back down, and I have regular breasts again.
Okay, I was like, I don't want to see if you have 4-inch nipples.
I'm not going to show you.
Good, thank you.
Maybe at the next pool party.
The only things I know about, the only places I've been in North Carolina, I went to UNC Greensboro for a weekend once to visit a lady that I met online.
Oh, when was this?
It didn't work out very well.
I obviously don't want to hear about it then.
I don't remember if I talked about that. Anyway, so I went to visit her at Greensboro. I ended up in at my aunt's house. That's how well it worked out.
Okay, so all right. So,
and
what year is this? Paint a picture for us.
Paint a picture. All right, this is the fall of 1996.
96? You met her online?
I met her online.
What was it, like a message board?
It was so Bradford College, where I went, we got the internet, and we were supposed to get email, but our email didn't come till later, which explains why I ended up getting a Hotmail address.
I still have a Hotmail address.
I had a Hotmail address before Microsoft owned them, like when they were just.
Well, so did I.
Yeah,
actually no. Well, my first email that I had officially was, I think it was Steve Woodbury at BusterRhymes.com. Seriously.
Because Buster Rhymes was giving out email addresses.
Yeah, they had I think Buster Rhymes and Run DMC had email accounts on their websites.
That's awesome.
And so I got I busted with Steve Woodbury.
Buster.
And I had to type, it was www. I don't know. They did this on home movies where you don't have to say www anymore.
Yeah.
But for some reason I like to. I'll try not to. It was bustamail.com.
Bustamail.com.
To check your email.
Nice. Anyway, so
then I had my Hotmail.
We got the internet on campus in the fall of '96, and all of us immediately. There was a group of 20 or 30 people who basically just spent their entire lives in that internet room, because we didn't have it all the way around campus. We had a room off of the library where they had maybe 20 to 30 computers.
So it was just FAP Central is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Jizz caked on the walls.
And so it was both guys and girls going on to various...
And female ejaculant? Let's not...
Yes.
Let's not be predatory.
No. There was lots of fun business going on there, and we were all going on to various message boards, because obviously we couldn't find anybody on campus because the options were limited.
Why was that?
I don't know. The options really weren't limited.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I met my wife, was on campus.
For Christ's sake.
Right? So, and one of the things that people would do is they would look across the way, see that someone was in some chat room. Le Hotel Chat was one of the places that we all frequented.
Ooh.
So somebody might look across
Très chic, my friend.
I know. Would look across the room, see that someone was in Le Hotel Chat, and then log in and as a new identity and purposely fuck with the person across the room and make them think that there was someone in there that wanted to hook up with them. So that was one thing that happened. But I did eventually meet this girl, Jennifer, who went to school at UNCG, and we started talking on the phone after the internet wasn't doing it for us.
This is back when you still had long distance charges.
We did, and I managed to blow through my entire long distance bill for that month, and for the rest of the semester.
At school?
At school,
oh,
yeah.
Geez.
So I couldn't even call my parents which was long distance from Haverhill to Chelmsford, apparently. I couldn't even call my parents to say, hey, can I borrow some money
for
pay
a
off
more
my
long
bill?
distance bill?
Yeah.
Because I met this girl online.
Right. And then I said, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm going to fly down, with little savings I have, I'm going to fly down to North Carolina to meet this girl. And they're like, you met this girl how? On the internet.
Yeah,
what's the internet?
Yeah, they don't... this is 96. This is why I'm I wanted to know,
when it was.
When it was, because, 96, that was, that was, right when the internet... Well, the internet was around before that.
Right, but
that's
was...
right when, Google came around, and
it's
you
right
could
when
search
everybody
for things.
it's right when everybody normal outside of the people who'd been the above average intelligent people, our miraculous friends like Will.
Yeah,
they'd been on it.
They
for
were on the
years.
internet way before, but yeah.
But all us norms, or slightly more normal people, civilians. That's when we got into the internet. So I said I'm going down to North Carolina to meet her. It was over like a long weekend, and I flew down there, and I could tell the moment that she picked me up at the airport that. I mean, she'd seen a picture of me. She knew what I looked like.
Yeah.
But I obviously wasn't what she was expecting. And then she was very kind of... as warm as cold as a person raised with Southern hospitality could be. I mean, so this is a Southern girl. She was polite. She was whatever. But you could tell that she wanted no part of me. And
especially not your dick.
Yes. And so after the first night of hanging out with her friends, I slept on like a blanket on the floor.
On a blanket?
And I might have had a blanket on top of me.
Oh, that's nice.
No
pillow?
And next, she might have given me a pillow. She might have sprung for a pillow.
Yeah, no pesky pillows for Chris.
She got up the next day, and she had to go off to classes. And she lived in some sort of a dorm situation where she had her own room, but they had a common room, and they had a bathroom off of the common room.
So it was like a suite.
Yes, but apparently nobody else in her suite knew that I was there.
Oh.
So I was instructed not to leave until she got back. Like, that's the maybe she didn't say that, but the impression I got was try not to leave the room. And she didn't come back for hours.
What if you had to poo?
I had to piss like a racehorse,
Did you piss in a jug?
I did not.
Oh.
I held it while turning on MTV really, really low, and watching for the very first time "Don't Speak" by No Doubt. That was the first time I saw the video for "Don't Speak" by No Doubt.
Wow, you must have been like, "Wow, this is amazing."
And well, they're breaking up, and I was like, this girl doesn't like me, and in that video, like it's all about like.
I've never seen the damn video.
So like in the video, Gwen Stefani, like she maybe had a relationship with one of the guys, and they're not getting along anymore, and then the band isn't getting along with her, and I was like, this is my life right now. This girl I came to see, she doesn't like me, and I was all emotional and.
You were crying and pissing.
And crying and pissing and crying, and then I just couldn't. She came back. She's like, I gotta go back and visit my parents. I can't hang out here. Something. She was like really stressed out. Was her excuse, and I gotta go home to. I think she lived in Asheville, North Carolina. And she was gonna go.
Get
home.
Out your maps, folks.
Yeah, I know. She was gonna go home and visit her parents, and she's like, "You said you have an aunt who lives around here. Can you go? Could you go like stay with her until your flight home?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." So she drove me out to the Fuquay area.
I know where Fuquay is.
Where my aunt and uncle lived. And she did not want to go in because my aunt was pissed off that this girl had basically like led me on. So she dropped me off at the door. I went in, found my aunt, and spent the rest of the weekend.
We're having thunderstorms? What's going on?
We might. Yeah, that sounds.
Well, at least we're running off of the power.
We're running off of the power.
So
of an
if there are thunderstorms and the power goes out, we're still gonna podcast.
We're still gonna podcast.
Holy shit!
So I went to my aunt's, and I spent the rest of the long weekend or week at my aunt's, watching. It was like Metal Week on VH1.
Yeah.
So it was like, I sat on her couch while my cousin went off to school. And my aunt went off to work, and I basically sat on there, and my uncle was away on business, and I sat on their couch and watched Metal Week on VH1, and felt sad because I'd now blown all of my savings. I had no more long distance on my phone, and I'd been blown off by someone I met on the internet.
Well,
so that's one part of North Carolina that I know. The other part is that I went to Raleigh, Durham area for a wedding. Many years later, and so I know Raleigh, Durham, and Cary because Cary was where the strip club was.
I lived in Cary. That's the town that I lived in.
Yeah,
And I've been to that strip
Been
club.
to that strip club.
My boss took me there for my birthday.
Nice. It was quite pleasant for a gentleman's club, I must say.
It was all right. It was right across from the DMV.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was dark when we got there.
But it's weird. Oh my! Now I'm going to tell North Carolina. I remember this is back when I used to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
I needed to get plates and I needed to get my license.
Okay.
So I go to they're in two separate buildings and they're not in the same area. The plates
weird.
place is way off in fucking someplace else that took me forever to find.
Right.
But I was going in the license place.
Gotcha.
So I am waiting in line for forever, and you have to take a test.
Yeah.
Like, like a
written test?
like
Okay.
you would if you get your learner's permit in this area.
Yeah.
So I took my test, and I passed it, and then I'm waiting in the line, and then they made me do the vision test, but then they're like, in the vision test, instead of just like, is the E facing this way, or it's not like letters or anything.
Yeah.
It's like road signs without the things that
without the words.
There aren't really. Well, yeah, some of them have words.
Okay.
Some of them don't. But like, they're just the road signs without the stuff in them.
Okay.
It's just the shape.
The shape. All right. Gotcha.
Okay, and so you have to identify what these signs are by their shape.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm bumping through them. I'm like, yeah, divided highway, that's a stop sign, that's a yield sign, that's this, that's that.
Yeah.
And I get to one, and I'm like, crosswalk?
Yeah.
And they're like, who's crossing at the crosswalk? I'm like, I don't know. What kind of question is that?
How am I supposed to? Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a crosswalk, I assume.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry, that's wrong. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, it's a school crossing. I'm like, who cares who's crossing the fucking street? It's a crosswalk.
It's a crosswalk. Does that mean I'm allowed to run regular people?
Yeah,
over,
I can't run children over. But yeah, regular people, go hog wild, sir.
Granny, you can plow right over Granny, but not Jesus.
But then like the dude was just like, he was like, well, you got one too many wrong, and I'm like, well, but I only got the one wrong, and he's like, you got number 6 wrong, and I'm like looking back, and I'm like, that was divided highway, and he's like, yeah, I guess you're fine. Do you have proof of residence or like it's like a bill or something,
right?
And do you have what's it?
Proof.
I needed proof of my middle name.
You need proof of your.
You need to have your middle name on your license in North Carolina.
Okay.
And I didn't have my birth certificate. And I'm like, I'm not gonna like call up the Chelmsford Town Hall. Can you fax
Can you fax me, mate?
No, it needs to be notarized. Like,
right.
If it's your birth certificate, so I have to go to the town hall in Chelmsford
to get
my
yeah.
And so I'm like, that's not happening. And they're like, well, we can't give you your license without proof of your middle name. And I'm like, I swear, I'm not going to say it on here.
Right, yeah.
Just so people can,
so you tell them, I swear it's my middle name.
Yeah, and they're like, no, you have to. So what I had to do was I had to go to the bank to where there was a notary.
Yeah.
And they gave me a change of name form. So basically what I did was I changed my name to my name. No letters different, exactly the same.
Changed my name to my name.
Yes. So like, I gave her the form, the woman at the bank, and she kind of just gave me a weird look, and I'm like, I know, it's weird, but they won't give me my license, so I need this form.
Right.
So can you just stamp it for me?
I changed my name to my name. And it worked out.
Yes.
After that, and then you went across the street to the strip club to.
No. I only went there once, and that was on my birthday.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, that would be a perfect. No, maybe there isn't a perfect excuse, but if you had that kind of a stressful day, then maybe you do go have a drink and partake in.
Yeah, but I wasn't done yet. I still need to get my plates.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because I took the day off from work to do. Well, actually, no. I worked at a grocery store, so I had a day off in the middle of the week, of course.
Yeah.
And so I was. I drove to the other side of town, and I was like rip shit. I was like chain smoking the entire way, and I'm like just exhaling. Like I was like I hadn't had a cigarette in like a couple of minutes, but I was still exhaling the smoke that
So
I
it's
had inhaled earlier.
Right.
And then I got to the license there, the plates place. And
Yeah.
I was in line for a very long time, and I was waiting. I was just waiting for a fight, and I'm like, "Don't tell me I need some fucking thing that I don't have."
Yeah.
But like, luckily, I was able to. I mean, it was a very long. It was a very, very long.
Very
line.
long. Yeah.
And I was just like fuming the entire. And I got back to my car. I was just like, I rolled up the windows all the way, even though it was like July or whatever,
Yeah.
and I had no air conditioning. I was just screaming at the top of my lungs and just smoking and just angry. So yeah, that's a North Carolina story for me.
So
I have more, but that's
Yeah.
just one for now.
That's just one for now. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a. I don't know. I didn't have a bad time when I went down for the wedding. So I guess I have
Whose
one.
wedding was it?
It was that same cousin who was in high school in '96. So in 2004 we went down for her wedding.
Okay.
They were still living down there. Now the whole family moved back up here and they live back up here. But in 2004 they were still down in North Carolina.
Is that who you're around today?
Nope, that was different family. No, I was at the 300th birthday of Littleton, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I was around that area earlier.
Now, if you tried to get into Littleton today,
You couldn't.
It was ridiculous. You couldn't. I mean, I tried the back way that I knew from when I was like really little, and they had basically blocked off the road. If I'd been able to go literally like 50 more feet, I would have been able to get to the back road that would have taken me to my other aunt's house. And but no, the thing is, there was a cop there, right? It was
Did you roll down the window and say, "Hey, I just want to go over there"?
I was thinking about it, but like at least 2 or 3 people as we were creeping up towards him had done the same thing, and they were being really disrespectful. It seemed like they were giving the cop an extra hard time, and he was getting more fuming, and I was just like,
I swear my aunt lives over there. Let me in, dude.
So we turned around, and then we made the dumb mistake.
Dude, it's not stopping. What is going on?
There's a lot of thunder.
It seems like there's like a thundercloud like right outside the house.
The house.
if there was a window there, I could just see it just like looming and like just having a glare on his face.
It seems like like it might be Bruce Springsteen Thunder Roading out there. Yeah, no, that was bad.
What was that?
Bruce Springsteen Thunder Road.
I heard you.
I don't know. I was trying to come up with something Thunder. I was trying to come up with something cool. It's like, was there a wrestler in the '80s named Thunder? No, but were there the Thunder Boys? No, there was like, I don't know.
There was the Bushwhackers.
The Bushwhackers.
That has nothing to do with
nothing
thunder.
to do with thunder. No,
although
there were like two. There were a bunch of those dudes like who wore the makeup, and there was Demolition.
Demolition, yeah.
Like those guys, Axe and Smash. And
what about the Legion of Doom? Or was that the same people?
Yes, Legion of Doom. No, they were different, and those are the guys I was trying to think of, and whether or not they had.
Your mom's calling. Should
my
you
mom's
answer?
calling.
You can pause the podcast.
No, I'll get back to her. She's probably just wondering where I am or something.
You're at my house.
Yeah.
You want me to call?
And of course now if she listens to the podcasts on the on her flight, she'll know
that we were talking
about her, and that she called and that I declined her call in the middle of I'm sorry, Mom.
So yeah, Thunder Road is happening outside.
Thunder Road is happening outside, or Thunderdome. That would have been better if I'd thought of like
we don't
Mad
need
Max.
another hero. We don't need another way home.
Yeah.
Thunder
See,
Road.
that was another thing that I was trying to think of. I was like, Mad Max. Was there like a Mad Max, like a Mel Gibson Thunder connection? And I couldn't come up with anything.
Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome. All I could come up with was Bruce Springsteen and Thunder.
It's okay.
Thunder Buddies. I could have come up with something from Ted. Is it Ted?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was that movie that guy from Family Guy did.
Yes, with Mocky Mock and the Funky Bunch.
Being all from Boston and shit.
Yeah. They had a TV show on about that Wahlburgers. I've never seen it, but apparently
it's not like it's his family.
It's his family.
Is it Donnie Wahlberg or is
Well,
like,
I think Donnie is in it, but it's actually one of their other brothers who runs the place.
Is it like?
And it's kind of like Donnie is like the co-star, and then Mocky Mock is probably there for the
more star power.
Yeah, I mean maybe he's there for the season premiere and the season finale, like that kind of thing. Like they bring in Samuel L. Jackson.
Is it in Southie or something, or is it like?
I don't know. Like they bring in Samuel L. Jackson for like,
dude, I am just
the premiere and the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You're really scared about the thunder.
I'm not scared. It's just weird that it's just happening so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of thunder.
I wonder if it's getting picked up.
I don't know. It'll be interesting when I listen back to see it.
Be like, this is the thunder episode where Steve just keeps on looking at the wall.
Thor! Even Thor would have been better than Bruce Springsteen. Thor, God of Thunder.
Shit all over my sock. So what were we talking about before thunder completely interrupted?
North Carolina, and whether or not it was...
no, we're talking about Littleton.
Littleton, yes. So I was in...
I
was in Littleton for the 300th birthday parade. My mom grew up in Littleton, and her sister still lives over there. So still got Littleton connections. Apparently, some folks from Littleton, Colorado, and their band came out because they got the same town name. And there was a Chelmsford band. It was a big parade, hot as all hell.
I used to work over there in Littleton back in what they called the day.
Yeah, at a grocery store?
No. I was working at a book warehouse.
Okay,
It was a place. They're no longer in Littleton. I think they're in Westboro. No, they're in Marlboro proper.
Okay, yeah.
Now, but it was called Sundance Publishing.
Oh, I heard of them. But
and I worked in they do educational publishing.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know.
No, I interviewed at a whole bunch of places. Anything that had the word book or publisher in it when I first got out of college, it didn't matter. I'm an atheist, and I interviewed at Christian book distributors or something like that. I actually got 2 interviews there.
Wow. Did you put that on your resume? I'm an atheist, but I totally want to work here.
I did not. I think, was I was going to say, was I more of an agnostic at that point? Probably not. But I thought it would have been interesting, and I was vaguely qualified for it. I mean, I got 2 interviews. Anyway, but yeah, maybe that's why they sound familiar. Anything that had the word book or publisher.
We didn't really do any of the publishing there. Yeah. It was just mostly the warehouse, and then there was customer service and sales were also there. Yeah. But they weren't printed there. They weren't written there.
That's where they stored it.
Yeah. And so, I was just putting books in boxes. And,
hey, it's a living.
Monkey work, for, a 19-year-old.
Yeah. That's all 19-year-olds are capable of.
I should have, I was so bad. I was, talking to someone recently. And, I don't want to say back in the day again, but back then, in those times, I was really bad at holding jobs, really bad. I would go there, I would go in and, have one day, and I'd be like, I'm not going back there. And I just stopped going, and then they would eventually mail me my check for my one day that I worked there, and I'd be like, whatever. I did this so much that people started referring to when you quit a job without calling.
As woodburying?
No, as Steving your job.
Steving your job.
Did you Steve another job? Maybe. How long were you at I remember it was in Acton. It was a place called Rex Lumber. It's still there. I drove by. I was on 27 the other day.
Yeah.
Taking a little gallivant.
Great word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gallivanting.
Yeah, I was gallivanting, and I was on Route 27 in Acton, Massachusetts, and I was driving by Rex Lumber, which obviously they've stood up against the test of time. They're still
and they survived you quitting.
Yeah. There's no, but I got the job there, and they were like, you're gonna be just pushing this piece of wood down this line, and I'm like, and they were like. No, of course, we got earplugs in, and I'm just yelling, and they're yelling, so we can hear each other.
Yeah.
And not just the earplugs, but I think we had
that headphones,
ear protection, and then of course we had eye protection as well. Right. And and I'm like, and they're like, that's it. That's my shift, pushing this piece of wood. And I'm like, And then I'm like, they're like, so yeah, this is what you're going to be doing. I'm like, no. And then I left.
I do. So that's it. I don't know if I've ever
I think
done
that was my shortest job. I was
That
like,
was
you
just-
know, they were like explaining to me what I'd be doing, and then I said no, and then I left.
I don't know that I ever had that. I worked for a couple of temp agencies where I had that kind of a job for like a day, and then it was only as long as they needed me, and they never needed me for longer than a day. But
I'm sorry.
I never got the
Validation.
No. I just feel like I missed out on a part of like what a lot of my friends went through in like their late teens or early 20s in terms of jobs and the.
Well, I certainly was one of them.
and I actually honestly think it's funny. It's a funny story, and it's funny that it was funny enough that it turned into a word, Steving.
Yeah.
But there's something about feeling empowered to leave a situation that's bad.
Yeah.
That I never got, because I like my job. I'm happy to teach. There go the lights a little bit.
I'm gonna have to put the shade up so if the lights do go on,
we can still see each other. So I like where I'm at now, but I have stayed, and I've even gotten into situations that I shouldn't have gotten into, and stayed longer in terms of work than I should have, because I never learned to like leave a situation when it was bad. I always have to be fired or let go. For one job, between my first job out of college and my second job out of college, I was actually the one that left. And then a few years ago, I left my secure, steady nonprofit job because I thought they were going to run out of money, and I went to another job. And so like I can kind of say, yeah, I quit that one. I got out while the getting was good, but I went to a situation that I shouldn't have gotten into. So I think that cancels each other out.
I've definitely gotten better at that over time, and it started with like relationships, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Because I would be in something that would be just in general caustic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would just be like guy with no self-esteem.
Right.
That I don't think I'm good enough for anyone else, so I'm just going to stay in this. I'm going to stay in this terrible situation,
right?
Because I don't feel good enough about myself to think that I can do better.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of it, and you got to get yourself.
There was some light.
Should I not have opened the window?
No.
I feel like we're getting louder and louder as the lightning gets louder.
We're getting louder and louder as the lightning gets louder.
Or the thunder,
sure.
sorry.
The thunder, yeah.
The lightning
doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah.
But then I guess doing like the Steving of jobs. But then I got. I know, Steve Jobs. We got it.
I know, but it's funny. It's the Steving of jobs. Okay, sorry. I'm over it.
That has to be picked up on the mic. There's no way that's not on the microphone.
All right,
we don't need a witty name this week. We can just call it Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm. Yeah. Although I like the Steving of jobs.
Well, that works too. So yeah, I keep on getting like my train of thought completely fucked by the thunderstorm.
Relationships, getting out of them.
Yeah,
self-esteem.
But like. Because I had done that so much in my youth, I felt like I couldn't do it anymore.
Okay, right.
As I became a responsible person. Holy shit! That sounded like it happened right outside.
It did. It sounds a little bit. I won't kid. I was a little scared.
Well, we're indoors, so don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I mean, maybe.
But
you only get so many of those.
Yeah, and so like it just took me a long time to be okay with quitting a job. But it's like I'm like my last job. It wasn't a terrible job.
Mm-hmm.
It was just last fall, actually around this time last fall, I was about to get laid off.
Yeah.
And I got an interview at a place up in Salem. I won't mention them because which is why I moved to New Hampshire in the first place. So working in New Hampshire, living in New Hampshire,
made sense.
pay no income tax. But if you work in New Hampshire and live in Massachusetts, you pay Mass state income tax.
Yeah.
So I was, I'll move up there and go to this job, and I wasn't 100% thrilled with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad job.
Yeah.
I did good work there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the people that I worked with. I liked my boss. It was, it worked. It was fine.
Right.
But then I wasn't going to like say, hey, I'm going to give up and not look for something else because
right.
this is not an ideal situation. So I applied around, and of course I found I applied. It was back in October that I applied of last year at where I'm working now. And I guess they needed to get their ducks in a row, and they gave me a call in December. Huh? But yeah, and then I eventually got the job there and switched. But if I had just been like that guy,
right,
I would still be at the other job.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of where I was for a really long time. I don't know what I would be now. I mean, there is something to be said for the fact that I've been an adjunct professor for 7 years.
What does adjunct mean? I'm sorry.
It just means that I'm not. You know what? I wish I knew exactly what adjunct means, but essentially it comes down to I am not full time and I'm there on a contract basis. So every semester.
Do you get like bennies though?
I don't get bennies.
So does your wife have the benefits?
She has the possibility of benefits, but
so you're just buying your insurance.
We're not right now. We're going to take the penalty this year. The girls are on New Hampshire state insurance because our income level is at a point where we can qualify for New Hampshire state insurance.
Okay,
for the girls.
So at least the girls have.
The girls are, but we haven't. We're not insured right now. So yeah, I mean, so there's a case to be made that I should be looking because I've been where I'm at. I've been teaching there 7 years, and there's not really a prospect of me getting full-time employment there. So I guess maybe I'm in the same situation now, but I like where I'm at, and it gives me time to write and to work on other things.
You could be like the senior Chang of the Nashua Community College.
The who?
You never watched Community?
I haven't watched Community.
Watch Community. You have Hulu?
I don't have Hulu, but but I'll watch it. I'll watch Community.
Yeah. It's worth. It's Ken Jeong.
Yeah,
his character, he teaches Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I realized like if there was a creative writing or English, the thing is that I don't much like teaching the basic English. I do it because I'm relatively good at it, and I enjoy the people at the school. I think the students that my school brings in are excellent students by and large, but my passion is for teaching creative writing. So like I'll look around up here at the community colleges and stuff like that, but I kind of because I don't have a traditionally published book. I am always, until I've got that traditionally published book or a lot more magazine publications, I'm always going to basically have to start over at any school that I go to, which is part of.
But you have the podcast now.
I have the podcast.
You are a goddamn broadcaster.
I am a broadcaster. And,
You're good enough, and doggone it, people like you.
You're good enough, you're smart. My friend, Beth, the bassist, who was in my band back in early college.
And there is talk right now of having our former band's cast.
Yes, we need to get at least 2 members of each of our former bands together, and we could do it because I do a podcast with another podcast with a former member of my band, and you and a member of your band made the theme song for the show. So
we didn't make it for the show.
Well, I know we
made the song, and then we used the song for the show.
Yes. Yes. So there's talk of that. Anyway, Beth, the bassist, was one who used to say that saying all the time. You're good enough. You're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Yeah. So I mean,
agreed.
It's true.
We're just trying to make ourselves feel better in the thunderstorm.
We are, yes.
We're scared.
I pooped my shorts a little.
That's gross.
No,
at least that I can wash off that chair.
You can wash off that chair. Yeah, and it is your chair, which is interesting. We have the first 5 episodes of Horribly Off Topic were recorded in my dining room, and the 6th episode is being recorded at your place.
In my bedroom, on my card table, while you're sitting in an excellent folding chair with a beverage holder.
With a beverage holder. Yeah, so that's worthy of talking about. We can stop talking about ourselves and try to make ourselves feel better because we're in a completely different environment.
Well, this is pretty normal for me.
All right, I'm in a completely different environment. I just like look. You've got 2 TVs in here.
That one's broken, and
Okay,
I'm
all
intending on getting it fixed on Monday.
Okay.
I've been tired of having it just like smack me. And this one is my roommate's.
Okay.
He let me use it.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I'll get this one fixed. So if he wants to put it in his room or something, or if he wants to sell it or whatever, that'll work. But
it's just like. I have a TV in my bedroom that's probably about 1/4 of the size of your TV, and the TV in my living room might not even be as big as the TV you've got in your bedroom. I'm just saying. What size is that?
I don't know. I can get the measurement.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hold on, I'll find out.
All right, well, we're gonna find out. Mine, I think the one I have at home is a 47-inch.
It might be bigger than this one.
Maybe. I don't know. Because we're closer to it, it seemed. My parents and I ended up getting the same one. My parents bought theirs first. I bought mine.
I'm measuring it now.
He's measuring it now. I bought mine.
It's 40.
40. Well, aren't you supposed to measure it diagonally?
Like this?
I think diagonally is the measurement.
44 then.
44. Okay. Yeah.
Unless we're doing it wrong.
Unless we're doing it. I think TV measurements are diagonal. Tell us if I'm wrong. Please tell me by sending an email to hot@clarkwoods.com. That's
Great plugs, sir.
That's our email address. I think
that the greatest part about this show, it's called Horribly Off Topic, but we don't ever announce we have a topic.
No.
But we do have things written down on this sheet. That hold on, Foley artists. Right here.
I don't know, could that possibly overpower the sound of the See, maybe they think, because we've joked about me being a Foley artist, that I'm just like rattling around some like
pots and pans
and big tin sheets. No, that's actual thunder, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, but yeah, we do have things written down.
We do have things written down. You know what's funny is that we also, I think this first episode we didn't say who we are.
Oh yeah,
we did.
Well, 41 minutes in, I'm Steve
and I'm Chris. If you didn't realize that by now, so when I came in, you were playing a video game.
Yes.
What game was it?
It was One Piece Unlimited World Red.
Nice.
Because One Piece is an anime that I enjoy. And apparently it's their goal to make every game title that they have for the series longer than the last one.
That is a good goal.
The last 2 I played were, you ever played Dynasty Warriors?
No.
Okay, so...
Yeah,
it's basically like kill all the Japanese people ever. You're just like a Japanese warlord.
Oh,
you have this
I was going to say,
weapon.
Are you like an American killing all the Japanese? Because that's a little ping pong.
No. But it's killing your own.
Yeah.
So you're a Japanese warlord or whatever, and then you're swinging a giant sword around with like double blades, like Darth Maul or whatever, but not as lame as Darth Maul.
Yeah, no.
And you're just killing lots of. Whatever.
Lots of Japanese people, yeah.
Yeah, and then like they made a One Piece version of it, so it's basically kill all the pirates and or Marines.
Gotcha.
In the world.
What I was saying is that, so in terms of me and video games, people ask me stuff like that all the time. Have you played this? Have you played that? Like, I had, the very first system I had, very first, could you call it a console? I don't know. We had of course, we had Pong when I was really, really little, whatever that was. But then we had an Intellivision. That was like you either you had Intellivision or you had Atari. You didn't have both, right?
Well, there was basically 3 that you had at that point in time. You had 3 at that time.
Yep.
You had. I'm just doing the wide eyes every time there's like a crazy thunder crash. You had Atari, Intellivision, and ColecoVision.
Yes. Okay, I remember ColecoVision.
Intellivision was the one that had like the inserts and.
Yeah, you had like the little that you had basically it was like a phone with like with a disc at the bottom that you could spin around.
I mean, as far as the controllers, it was the most advanced out of all of those.
It did because it had 10 buttons on that you could use.
That's
for
more than
things.
actually no. I think the PS controller
has a lot.
has
yeah.
10 on there.
Yeah.
It'll be, but yeah, like the Atari was just a stick
was just
with
the stick
one button.
With the button, one button. Yeah.
The funny thing is, if you look at the plug for an Atari controller,
Yeah.
it's the same as for a Sega Genesis controller.
Oh, weird. Huh.
So if you're playing your Atari,
Yeah.
you can use the Sega Genesis controller
I did not know that.
to play it. So
Huh.
if you don't want to like use like a joystick,
you can
use the like and it'll work.
You could use the pad.
You don't you only need to use one button.
Right. Huh. I never knew that. Well, so we had the Intellivision. Did you have Intellivision?
We had Atari.
You had Atari. Okay. And then we got a Nintendo, the original NES.
I think
we got it late. I
think you guys and I got it that same Christmas.
Yeah, we got it. We got it for Christmas, and we got the version that had the gun for Duck Hunt, and it had the pad. It was like a pad you could lay out on your floor that was for like track and field or something like that.
Yeah.
So we got the cartridge that had
3 games.
It had 3 games instead of like most people. They either got 1 or 2.
Yeah, I got the one that was just Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yeah. So we got that, and then I think either as a family, or maybe it was mostly my brothers, there was a Super Nintendo in the house that I did get to play with. I thought it was a family one, but it might have been John's. So we had a Super Nintendo, but then I went off to college. So my video game experience, because I sucked at games, and because I sucked at them, I was never never as into it as John was. I stopped playing games around the time of the Super Nintendo. I'd come back from college. He might have he had the Genesis and then the Sega CD at one point.
Yeah, the Sega CD. I forgot about that.
He eventually had the N64.
Because your mom used to work at the Caldors, and I think he got it on clearance or something.
So like he would have the new systems, and I would play them every once in a while, but I completely got out of touch. So like I stopped playing when side scrollers were still the predominant form of like what games were. And so when I came back to it, and every time I tried to come back to it, not only were the graphics getting better, but like even starting with what Mario came out for 64. What was the
Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64.
Everything was like that. The first generation of games for the Nintendo 64
was always just
was something 64. Like the it was Wave Race 64 was a launch title, and then Mario 64, and then Killer Instinct 64.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
No, wait, no, that was Killer Instinct Gold.
Oh, okay, they broke the mold.
But it was like sort of a port of the KI2, which was in the arcades, which nobody had.
Nobody had.
Like everybody had the original Killer Instinct,
right?
But like it looked like it was K12.
Yeah, okay, because of the weird way that the font would have been. So anyway, so every time I see a game, including the one that you were playing, for the longest time, it was really hard for me, especially on smaller screens, to get used to a world where you could move in every direction. It was just off-putting, and so I never really tried. So we got Epic Mickey a couple years ago after we got our Wii, which was the first system that we'd ever had in our house, and we had a 27-inch CRT TV at that point, and I don't know if it was just because of the size of the TV, or I never got used to games where you could really go in any direction and it was 3D, but I could just never get into it. But gave me Super Mario, was it Wii?
The new Super Mario Brothers for the Wii?
Yeah, new Super Mario Brothers Wii.
The red package?
Yeah, give me that one, and I played that one. That was the first Mario game I ever beat, to tell you how much I sucked at video games. I finally beat that one. The summer that I got laid off and was home with Melody all the time.
I'm trying to think of like what games did I which Mario games did I beat? The first one took me forever. I didn't beat the first Super Mario Brothers till high school.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
I beat first one Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario World, Mario 64.
Yep.
Beaten New Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Was any of the other Wii like was there Super Mario Sunshine?
Oh yeah, I played I beat that. I beat Paper Mario and Paper Mario 2 and Super Paper Mario.
See, I mean, and like the other thing is so. What happens is I go to someone's house who has a game system, and I get really interested and excited, and then I realize like I stink at these, and part of the reason I stink at them is because I don't play them. But then I think about like, what games did I like? What games did I play? And I mean, aside from the Super Mario Brothers, like the most violent game I ever played, I played Mortal Kombat. You know, like that was as violent as I ever got.
But the one for Super Nintendo didn't have any blood.
Didn't have any blood. That's right. So I would go to a friend's house.
They said it was sweat. They just took the color out of it, and they were like, "Oh, it's sweat. Everybody's sweating. Why would I sweat so much if someone hit me?"
I know. And I suck at Mortal Kombat too, as John, my friend John Martin would tell you. Every time we go to Fun Spot, it's tradition for us to go to the Mortal Kombat cabinets. I think that's on the bottom floor at Fun Spot.
We need to go.
And he just kicks my ass repeatedly because I play Scorpion and he plays Raiden, and he knows that basically I'm just going to try to do Scorpion's.
Get over here!
Get over here!
Yeah. And then you're gonna go. You can squat down, and then do the uppercut.
And the uppercut, right?
Ooh!
And the thing is I just. Yeah, I'm totally predictable when it comes to Mortal Kombat.
See, what you have to do is, like when you're fighting in real life, you have to read your opponent's moves and then respond to those moves with a counter move that would
be effective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so like I see like a game system, and like it took forever to convince Stephanie to even like have us have a Wii in the house because she didn't want really violent games around.
Yeah, but
the kids.
The Nintendo is good for
families.
Yeah, like Super Mario Brothers is not a violent game.
No.
I mean,
you're squashing a lot of mushrooms, but
yeah, these are not like real things, and and you are like riding around on a dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it's a little silly.
But he's your friend.
He is your friend,
and he likes to eat.
And he does eat people.
Yes.
Or mushrooms.
Well,
and turtles.
The thing that I never got was like when you ate something with Yoshi, you got a coin.
Yeah.
Like, is he shitting them out?
he's. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yoshi physiology. How does that work?
Well, we'll have to get a game expert on.
Yes, to tell us exactly how Yoshi's Yoshi. It's the thunder. It's screwing up my not punctuation, my pronunciation.
Okay.
So I mean, aside from the video games, I look around and I see that you've got a lot of episodes of The Simpsons, which is another thing that like I watched The Simpsons when I was a kid, and then I stopped watching.
Probably around season 10, because that's when most people stopped watching.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I made it that far, because I think I probably stopped when I got to college.
Okay,
I stopped a lot of things. But
like, all right, so.
So they started in '89 or '88. When did they?
It was on Tracy Ullman before.
Okay.
But I think it was. The Christmas special was like in late '89.
Okay.
And that was like the first episode, and then '90 was when it actually really
was
started.
when it actually yeah.
I think I could just look in the.
You could just look at the boxes. Yeah. So I mean, I probably stopped watching it regularly by '95 or '96.
But that some of the really great episodes were right before that, before you stopped watching.
Right. I mean, and I've still seen when there's been things.
Yep, I was right. December 17th, 1989 was,
right.
And then the first episode was January 14th, 1990.
I remember having, and I think I still have it, I had a Bart Simpson shirt that said, "Don't have a tea party, man." It was like a Boston themed
and I'm like, is
Bart Simpson shirt that I had like right around the time that it was first popular. And basically it was just like anything you could throw Bart Simpson on, they threw Bart on.
Yeah, Matt Groening was like I watched a little documentary. It was probably on one of these DVDs that I have. That he was like, you couldn't I couldn't stop the pirating of like Simpsons merchandise because it was just so widespread.
Yeah,
and it was done by almost any. If you had a screen printer, you were making Bart Simpson shirts because they were getting sold out immediately.
Yeah, it was crazy. And of course, I also paid attention. I kept paying attention. Like I remember watching the episode with was he actually called Steve Mobs? Was that like the Apple parody episode?
I think that was more recent, so I don't know if I've actually seen it.
Yeah, well, when that one came out, a few years ago, I watched that one, and of course, I always paid a little bit of attention to it because, going back to like our local connection, there was good old Lance Wilder.
Well, how old was he?
See, Lance. The only reason I heard about him at first was he was on a little league team that my dad coached when they won a championship.
Okay.
And this is before, like, my dad was coaching the Little League team, but this is when we were not even in, like, Pee-wees or, like, whatever junior Little League was called.
Yeah.
So, way back when, he was coaching Little League, and Lance was on his team, and so he would, in the way that my dad tells every story a lot.
Another idea that I have... And I don't know if this would ever come to fruition, but we need to have a dad cast.
Dad cast.
We just throw my dad and your dad in a room and put the microphone on, and then just see what happens, and then leave. And just like you guys talk for an hour.
Okay, I was gonna say it might not be an hour long. It might be it might be like a 10-parter.
Yeah, part 10 of the dad cast.
The dad cast. Just record it once, and then for as long as we run the podcast,
just whenever we're like, we can't record this week. Let's just put out part 2 of the Dadcast.
But Dad would talk about Lance Wilder, and then they did a feature on him every once in a while in either the Lowell Sun or the Chelmsford Independent. I don't even know if that still exists.
It might. I think my dad might still get it.
And then, of course, when they moved Zesty Pizza, which was and is where my parents
have their Friday night
pizza and subs.
Yeah.
He did I don't know if he did the mural or they did it in the style of so there's a mural now where Zesty Pizza is now that's I don't know if it's inspired by Lance's work. We should say Lance Wilder is one of the background artists on The Simpsons.
It's funny. I was listening to one of the commentary tracks. I think it was somewhere around season 5, and it was the Halloween episode, and it was the one where Homer he fixed the toaster, and he kept on going back in time, and then like accidentally squishing a bug in like prehistoric times, and screw up history, and so he kept going back and trying to not do it, and he kept on screwing things up, and. There was a thing where like there was the Simpsons house, and then they kept on changing to different things.
Oh, to different things.
And one of the things that was in the script was the Simpsons house made up of squirrels.
Wait, an entire house made of squirrels?
Yeah, it was the house made of squirrels, and so Lance had to draw it, and they didn't end up using it, and he was rip shit.
He made him draw a house made out of squirrels, and then
They didn't use it, and so he used that as his Christmas card that year.
As well he should. I mean...
It's like, I went through the trouble of making, like, not just out of, like, one squirrel, but just, like, the whole house with tiny squirrels. Yeah.
Well, and of course, so he would throw in a Chelmsford landmark every once in a while.
Yeah, like Tony and Ann's Pizza.
And of course, is it Springfield Town Hall that's modeled after the library?
Yep, the Springfield Town Hall is modeled after the Adams Library in Chelmsford. So if you're ever, I want to go to northern Massachusetts, you can go through all the sites. That the Revolutionary War sites in Concord and Lexington and all that,
and then go see real history.
In Chelmsford, Massachusetts. See the Adams Library right in the center, which is the basis of Springfield Town Hall.
Yes,
so real history. We're special.
But you were saying before we started recording, they recently did a marathon that had every episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah, it was FXX.
Okay.
The extra X. Leave off the extra X for savings.
Oh, God.
They decided, I think it went on for 12 days.
I can't even imagine. And that was it.
Back to like 550 or something episodes of The Simpsons. Back to back.
And is it still running? It's still running.
Yeah, it's still on. Like the season premiere is going to be like a crossover with Family Guy.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can get into that.
And I guess they're writing a crossover with Futurama as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. And it's still on Fox. Like
Sunday nights.
But Futurama moved, right? Like
Futurama
was canceled and then it came back, right?
It got canceled and then Comedy Central brought it back.
Okay.
And they did I think 4 more seasons. So
okay.
they did 8 total.
Nice.
And then they canceled it again.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, the newer episodes of Futurama were okay, but the first 4 seasons were really great, and I don't think there's a bad episode in that bunch, and you could see that's where the Simpsons kind of started to.
Is it because they were splitting?
Well, a lot of the staff from The Simpsons went on to do
Futurama.
Okay. And I mean, don't get me wrong, The Simpsons is still good. I mean, I have seasons 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16,
right, and
20. But for some, they suck at putting out the DVDs. They put out 1 a year.
Oh, jeez.
So I've been getting these since I was back in college.
When you started.
When I was starting college is when I bought that first DVD set.
Oh wow, that's and they're just they're never going to catch up, are they?
They can't if they're doing 1 a year.
If they're doing 1 a year, huh? But do they? I mean, you said there's commentaries and stuff like that. I mean, maybe they're putting a lot into it, or I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. You guys, if you're listening, which you're not, could you put out more than 1 fucking DVD a year? I mean, you could download them off of Amazon or whatever.
Right,
I imagine iTunes as well.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, for people who want to have the physical thing there, it's not quite the same.
Yeah, my DVD collection is not quite as immense as it used to be.
Right. But you've got the stuff that you care about and the stuff that you want.
There's a place in New Hampshire and Maine called Bull Moose.
Yeah, Bull Moose.
It's sort of like Newbury Comics, which is another local reference for all you people that don't live around here. But yeah, I went and I made a list. Yeah. I checked it twice. Of all the DVDs that I had,
that were naughty and nice, yeah,
and all the ones that I have. The PS3 is also a Blu-ray player,
right?
So I was just like, I will just the ones that I really like, I will get the Blu-ray copies of it, which I did, and the ones that I had the 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I'm like, I don't think I'm ever gonna really watch this again. And,
yeah, yep.
I mean, I've seen it enough times. It's funny, whatever.
It's funny because. Now I've got the problem of so you brought them all to Bull Moose and sort of do they do it on consignment at Bull Moose or do they just pay you 1 flat fee and did you sell your old ones through Bull Moose?
No, I they just give you a certain amount of money.
You a certain amount, yeah. So
depending on the title.
We did the same thing with our DVDs and our CDs a bunch of years and now.
Do you want 2 CDs?
Do I want 2 CDs?
Yeah.
I don't need any CDs.
No, but you want 2 CDs?
No, I don't.
I hate this fucking joke because it never works. No one ever fucking trusts me. Just say yes after I ask the question, all right?
All right, start again.
Do you want 2 CDs?
Yes.
Do you want 2 CDs nuts?
Yes.
Oh.
No. So we... I feel like that's where we should end, but
we could
end.
Just
but
do
I was
it.
Gonna tell another story.
Okay, fine.
I'll leave it
I can tell the joke again at the end.
No, so we did the same thing with.
What you could do is you could edit out the part where you didn't play along with the joke.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell the joke at the very end again.
Okay.
But don't have it be twice. Make sure it's all.
How are we gonna edit out all this part where we're over explaining it?
No, it's fine. You can leave this part in.
So we did the same thing, but not with Bull Moose. We did it with a company that basically gave you a gift card. Well, they advertised themselves. I think it was iPod Meister, and they advertised themselves.
They still exist?
They might still. I'll have to Google it, and I'll put it in the show notes, which you can find at clarkwoods.com/hot/6 for all the links and shit that we talked about today.
Yeah, and you can email us at hot@clarkwoods.com, and if you need to get a hold of us personally, you can give us a message on Twitter.
I'm Chris at ECC1977 and Steve's at Tuesday.
At Tuesday is loser.
Yeah.
Tuesday is loser, not Tuesday apostrophe S. It's Tuesday IS loser.
Yes. Get that right, you fucking numbskulls.
Yes.
iPod Meister. We donated all of our stuff. But before we did that, I ripped all of my CDs and my DVDs.
Yeah, just you also ripped a fat or something. I can't. I wish I hadn't done that. I'm stealing a Jim Norton character. Just addressing it there.
So we did that, and so now I've got I've got a ton of movies, but they're all digital files on my iTunes library and in my Apple TV. And so like you mentioned, not American Virgin, 40-year-old Virgin.
Yes.
Thinking of American Pie and 40-year-old Virgin. Like this, all the A's at the beginning of the alphabet, and I got a bunch that are numbers at the end of the alphabet. That I'm like, am I ever gonna watch it again? I might. And it's just a digital file, and it's just taking up a gig of space on my hard drive, so I'll keep it. But then when I go to look at my list of movies, and I'm looking for a movie that I really want to watch again, I got to scroll through a bunch of stuff where I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch that again. Whereas if I had the DVD, right, or the Blu-ray, it's, and I get rid of it, it's gone. But when it's just a file on your drive or something, and you're like, I can keep it. I got plenty of room. What do you do? Like, I got tons of songs in my iTunes library that are shit that I'm never going to listen to again. But what if I decide I want to listen to a bunch of crap music one night?
I don't know.
Keep them around.
See, but like I don't have a bunch of crap music on my iPhone or iTunes or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that when I go to the gym and I do my little
you have the little
one that I clip on my belt when I'm at the gym when I don't feel like listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'll like just put my music on shuffle.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to skip things constantly.
Yeah. I know.
So I just make sure that everything that's on my iTunes is stuff that I like.
Something people like. Yeah. I don't know.
And if it's something that I'm sick of, I'll just skip it. But
maybe I should go back to CDs.
CDs?
Yeah, maybe I should go back to CDs.
Do you want 2 CDs?
Yes.
Do you want 2 CDs nuts?